This is stop number 3 on the Holcomb Valley Gold Fever Trail. It's an area where they discovered a lot of gold, and this particular spot is called Wilbur's Grave. And nobody seems to know who Wilbur is, but people leave some weird stuff here. I don't know what that little puppet guys are. There's asthma inhalers, beer bottles, and a whole lot of pine cones, and a cross. So Wilbur's identity is lost in history, I guess. This spot is called Two Gun Bill's Saloon. You can see not much left of the saloon. I guess it got burnt down over the years. I guess the Forest Service is saying this is the spot, but other historians say that it's a mile and a half that way up towards that mountain. There's remains of a really big log building, saloon, I guess, and that's where a lot of historians say it is, but the Forest Service is sticking with this as a spot. Gold Fever Trail, Bill's Saloon, Two Gun Bill's Saloon. You can see how they cut these logs in to fit together. I guess that would have been some work with hand tools to build an entire cabin that way. This is the, I guess you would call meadow or prairie area of Holcomb Valley. This is where a lot of the mining took place. And at one time, in this area here, they say there was 1,500 cabins. There was so many people living up here at the time in the mid-1800s that when they voted for San Bernardino's county seat, of course San Bernardino, the city, ended up being the county seat, but they this area was called Bellevue or Belleville. It missed being the county seat by 2 votes. Jonathan Tibbetts Grasshopper Quartz Mill. Not sure if they found anything other than gold here, but I know this was a gold mill right here. This is some of the quartz that was dug up and transported over here, and they, at the mill, they ground it up to get any gold out of it. All these mounds out here are piles of rock that they crushed. The mill isn't here anymore. Of course, it's some kind of giant steam-powered mill where it had these giant hammers that would slam against the big rocks and crush them into smaller pieces. And then they would search for gold, and as far as I know, the only thing left out here is the old well right there, a water pumping well. I'm surprised somebody hasn't tried to steal that. The old water well. They needed water for the steam engine, of course. It's plugged up, it looks like, with rocks now. That's some kind of a foundation for something. Probably a base to the one of the legs of the mill. My dog sees a lizard. That's not dinner, Jack. Crazy to think that there was 1,500 cabins out here. And at one time, I don't remember what they said, I think it was like 50,000 people in this little valley. Had the gold fever. This is called the Hangman's Tree here. This is, of course, what any small 1800s Western encampment of people or town had. The local tree where hopefully justice was paired out. So you wonder how many people were executed there. And I never saw anything about a court around here, so I assume court was held right there at the bottom of the tree. Guilty or not guilty? So this is the Belleville Van Dusen cabin. What they call it, it's really the Belleville, or I'm sorry, it's really the Van Dusen cabin. But they moved it, I don't know why, I've never really heard the story why, to this area which is called Belleville. I think it's from around the 1850s. So, pretty cool that it's still here. It's got a lot of graffiti, at least the last time I was here. But it's kind of crazy to imagine a family lived in one of these for an extended period of time. They got most of the spray paint out of here. Must have sandblasted it. I don't know if it ever had a wood floor, if it was always dirt. But home sweet home. I guess it kept them out of the snow. This was a gold ore grinder, so what they would do is they would stick big old rocks in here that they thought might have gold. I think it would be rock with quartz, and then probably had a mule who would walk in circles towing a big, probably a big stone or else a piece of iron, like an iron weight, and it would crush the ore into basically like powder, and then they'd sift through it and find the gold. This area is where in 1860 Bill Holcomb originally discovered gold. He was out bear hunting, and this was a stream. I guess it's a stream after the winter runoff. And back then there was grizzly bears here. He was hunting for grizzly bears, and he stumbled across pieces of gold just sitting in the stream. And that's what initiated the gold rush in this area in Holcomb Valley. This, as you can see, is Ross's grave. I don't know who would want to go camping by a grave, but Ross said little is known about him except for he was cutting down a tree in the mid-1800s, and the tree fell on him and he was killed. So let's see what's up with the grave site. So this is where the tree fell on him. I don't know. Maybe that's the tree. Or there's another bigger tree back behind there. But this is where he's buried. They buried him right where he was killed. This spot is called Pygmy Cabin. It was, I think it's burnt down, but before it burned down, they said the doorway was 3 feet tall. I think the entire cabin, the ceiling was like 5 or 6 feet. So they don't know that it was a pygmy lived in the cabin, but or even a short person. It might have been somebody just building it real fast to get out of the weather, but that's what they called it. So this is the infamous pygmy cabin. Like I said, when it stood here, I don't know when it burned down, but it's, you know, in recent years, because the Forest Service knows the history of it. And they said the ceilings, or actually the roof was 6 feet tall. The doorways were 3 feet high. And little tiny fireplace. So you can see that's the size of the cabin. Let me bring the dog over here. This is actually was the foundation of the cabin. Can you see how little that is? It's probably 8 feet long, maybe 5 feet wide, and I guess it was 6 feet tall. So I see why they call it the Pygmy Cabin. Low ceiling. Ugh. All right, let's hope Yogi the Bear didn't decide to make his home in here today. Keep going, Jack. Guess it's about as far as they went until the gold ran out. No bats in here today. Oh man, it feels nice and cool in here. It's probably 60 degrees in here and 90 outside. All right. Little bridge. This is the Lucky Baldwin mine. I don't know what's over here. Never walked down here before. This kind of rock right here, I think it's quartz. Yeah, quartz is what they would find gold in most commonly. Yeah, this is an old mine shaft. It looks like either it caved in or they filled it in. Fire just missed this place. It's burning all around here. So this was the last stop on the Gold Fever Trail. There's a big fire up here, but all around these white flowers are growing everywhere on this hillside. Doesn't take long to start growing back.